In the heart of Northern Europe, a country known for its diplomatic neutrality and progressive policies took a bold stand on the world stage. Sweden, a nation that champions free trade and cooperation, joined the European Union in retaliating against U.S. tariffs. What was initially seen as a global trade war under President Donald Trump's administration soon escalated into an international clash, one that reshaped not only the transatlantic trade relationship, but also Sweden's own economic strategies. In 2018, President Trump shocked the global economic order by imposing steep tariffs on steel and aluminum, citing national security threats. The U.S. tariffs not only targeted China but extended to traditional allies, including the European Union. While some nations hesitated or remained passive, Sweden, a key EU member, surprised many by aligning itself firmly with the EU's retaliatory measures, marking a significant shift in its trade diplomacy. President Trump's tariff agenda was part of his America First policy, which aimed to protect American industries. By imposing a 25% tariff on steel and a 10% tariff on aluminum, the U.S. disrupted the global market and provoked responses from its closest trade partners, including the European Union, Canada, and Mexico. The tariffs were presented as a means to protect U.S. manufacturing jobs, particularly in the steel and aluminum industries. However, the broader consequences were felt in other industries, especially in Europe, where the cost of key materials like steel and aluminum shot up due to the tariff impositions. For Sweden, this meant increased production costs for its export-heavy industries, especially in automotive manufacturing and telecommunications. Sweden, a small but highly export-driven economy, found itself at a crossroads. The country is home to some of the world's most iconic companies: Volvo, Scania, Ericsson, and H&M, which play a critical role in its economic stability. Sweden exports approximately $150 billion worth of goods annually, with key markets in the U.S. and the European Union. While Sweden exports a variety of goods globally, its trade with the U.S. is particularly crucial. In 2020 alone, Swedish exports to the U.S. amounted to $11 billion. The bulk of these exports consisted of automobiles, Volvo cars and trucks, heavy machinery, and telecommunications equipment, primarily from Ericsson. These industries depend heavily on the smooth flow of goods between Sweden and the U.S. However, the tariffs placed on aluminum and steel sent shockwaves through Sweden's automotive sector. Volvo and Scania, two major players in the global automotive market, were hit with higher production costs, which in turn threatened to raise the prices of their products. Though Sweden has historically been known for its neutrality in international conflicts, when it came to Trump's tariffs, the Swedish government made a strategic decision. Sweden would not stand idly by while its industries were impacted by U.S. protectionism. Alongside the EU, Sweden retaliated by imposing its own tariffs on U.S. goods, including motorcycles, bourbon, and jeans, products deeply tied to U.S. cultural identity. The tariffs imposed by the U.S. on steel and aluminum were harmful not just to our industries, but to global trade as a whole. Sweden stands firm in its support of EU-wide measures that protect the principles of free trade. We will retaliate in a manner that underscores our commitment to international cooperation. Sweden's support for the EU's retaliatory tariffs surprised many, given the country's historical commitment to diplomacy and open trade. Yet, in this case, the Swedish government recognized that the larger European unity was at stake, and by aligning with the EU's response, Sweden sought to protect its industrial base and safeguard European economic interests. While Sweden's relationship with the U.S. was a central issue in this trade dispute, the EU is, by far, Sweden's largest trading partner. In 2020, Sweden exported over $50 billion worth of goods to other EU countries, with major trading partners including Germany, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom. Swedish companies, from Ericsson to Volvo, rely on a unified European market to reach consumers across the continent. Sweden's export portfolio to the EU consists of automobiles, machinery, pharmaceuticals, and chemicals, among others. Despite the significant reliance on the EU for its exports, Sweden also felt the economic ripple effects of the tariff war, with the U.S. companies like Volvo and Ericsson faced increased material costs and delays in their supply chains, impacting production schedules and pricing structures. However, Sweden's stance within the EU's broader strategy was about more than just protecting its economic interests. The EU's unified retaliation against U.S. tariffs signaled to the world that unilateral trade actions would not go unchallenged. For Sweden, this move was essential in maintaining European solidarity and ensuring that free trade principles were upheld. Sweden's economic ties with the U.S. are not one-sided. In 2020, Sweden imported $9.5 billion worth of goods from the U.S., including industrial machinery, aircraft, and chemicals. These imports are essential for Swedish industries, particularly in high-tech sectors like aerospace and telecommunications. Sweden's reliance on U.S. goods made it vulnerable to the tariffs imposed by the Trump administration. Although Sweden is a high-tech, industrial powerhouse, the import of certain key products like chemicals and machinery from the U.S. is critical to maintaining its global competitiveness. Sweden's diplomatic efforts during this period were marked by a careful balancing act. While the country aligned with the EU in its decision to retaliate, Sweden's long-standing commitment to multilateralism and cooperation ensured that it continued to engage with the U.S. diplomatically. Sweden is deeply committed to open, fair, and transparent global trade. We do not view this as a conflict, but as a challenge to be resolved through dialogue and cooperation. Our goal is to maintain strong economic ties with the U.S. while ensuring that our industries and European interests are protected. Sweden's nuanced approach to the trade conflict illustrates its deep commitment to diplomacy. While standing firm against U.S. tariffs, Sweden worked to maintain open communication with Washington, advocating for fair trade practices on the global stage. Sweden's response to the U.S. tariffs not only reinforced its position as a strong advocate for free trade, but also highlighted the country's resilience in the face of global trade uncertainties. By supporting the EU's retaliatory measures, Sweden sent a clear message about the importance of cooperation, solidarity, and the protection of international trade norms. As Sweden moves forward, it remains a key player in shaping the future of global trade, advocating for a fair and open global market. Sweden's ability to navigate these challenges, balancing national interests with global cooperation, will continue to define its role on the world stage.